Hi everyone, Michael Rubenfeld here. Hope you're doing well. It is Saturday evening when I'm recording this. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I hope you had a wonderful Dzień Dziecka. On today's episode of Michael Rubenfeld's Talks About Things, I'm going to talk a little bit about how things have been going for me in Poland in my profession. Many of you probably know that my profession is working as an actor and a writer and sometimes a director and sometimes a producer. When I moved to Poland, it was a few years before COVID. And when I was living in Toronto, I was running a theater festival, and I was ready to leave that festival. And so it was a really good time for me to consider moving to Poland. And so I moved to Poland, but I moved to Poland with some international projects that I was producing. Now, all of that changed when COVID began. Basically, when COVID started, everything that I was doing had to stop. And so I basically had to figure out what my life in Poland was going to look like in my professional field. When I did move to Poland originally, I started a Jewish arts and activist organization with my wife. And that was going well, but it certainly wasn't going well enough to be the sole source of my income. And also, the majority of my work was producing a festival that happened once a year, which we still do. We're actually just about 3 weeks before the beginning of our next festival, our eighth festival in Krakow. If you're living in Krakow and you would like to come to our festival, it's June 21st to July 2nd, and here's the link for you. But I made a kind of interesting decision to go, okay, let's see if there's a way to commit to my artistic life exclusively in Poland. And let's see if I can put more of my energy on just my art practice. Now, when I was living in Toronto, I sort of split my time between making art and producing other people's art and producing festivals. But I think the majority of my energy went to producing, and I got quite good at it. But when COVID came, I discovered that actually the producing part of my life was not something that I missed, and I felt kind of relieved that I wasn't having to do that anymore. It's hard because you're constantly having to raise money, write tons of grants, a lot of logistics. Ultimately, my role as a producer was about supporting other people's voices. But I discovered that I wanted to explore my voice more. Or I would say, again, I was doing a lot more of my own art practice when I was younger, but when I was living in Canada, I got to this point where I sort of felt like, although I had things that I wanted to say, I wasn't sure that my voice was as important as some of the other kinds of voices that I wanted to support. And, I enjoyed doing that for a time. But the interesting thing for me about moving to Poland was that because Jewishness in Poland is such a minority voice in contemporary Poland, and especially in the art scene, there's very little Jewish voice in the arts scene. There's a lot of Jewish interest in Poland. There's a lot of Jewish interest from artists. This was part of the reason why my wife and I started Festival. But, after COVID, I really started to feel like, maybe I can justify using my voice more than I had been of late, because I'm Jewish. My roots are here. There are also very few people like me who are in the Jewish arts scene. I think there might be none. I'm talking about Jews who grew up in North America, whose roots are here in Poland, who made the decision to move back to Poland. Working on a lot of Jewish identity politics stuff that was about me, but not only for me. I started to understand that actually this voice could be quite interesting and important for Jews around the world. Then I started to realize just how interesting it might be for Polish people, and that was a theory that's turned into something that I really truly believe that if you're watching this now, it might be because you're interested in my Jewish voice. So, although I've never kind of exclusively defined as a Jewish artist, in Poland I've made the decision to do just that. In order to be kind of recognized as a Jewish voice, not the Jewish voice, but a Jewish voice. So I was fortunate enough to have one of my shows that I made with my mother called We Keep Coming Back, about my mother and my first trip to Poland, in this attempt to reconcile our relationship by reconciling our negative associations with the country we were from, which is a show I think you guys would probably like. It's like an hour and a half long, and I was thinking of posting it. Let me know if that's of interest, because I have a decent video of it, watchable. I was fortunate enough to have a director named Marcin Wierzchowski, who at the time I didn't know was a fairly well-respected theater director in Poland, see the show. He saw it in Białystok, and he was very moved by it. He was very interested in it, and he got in touch with me initially because he wanted to show the film to some of his students, but then we decided that we would just meet for coffee and start a conversation. And the conversations we started having were just about the fact that we both felt that we held a lot of trauma connected to the Second World War. And we started talking about each other's narratives, the narratives that we grew up with, mine about Poland and Polish people, and him about Poland and Jewish people. And they were very deep, very rich conversations, and we became friends. And at a certain point, we decided we would make a show together. We would make a show together with the goal of trying to see if we could make a contemporary show about Polish-Jewish relations in a Polish context. And that was a show called Altenheim, Stary Dom, and we premiered it at the Teatr Nowe in Poznan, and it was a success. It went very well. We were very happy with the show. We were very happy with the collaboration. And that spawned 2 more shows. So we've made now 3 shows together. The third one we just opened at the Stade. And I, went from really like not knowing what I was going to be doing in this post-COVID exclusively Polish reality for myself, to initiating a pretty robust career in the theater in Poland, which has been really exciting. And even just like the decision to psychologically because I didn't really have much of a choice. I couldn't even leave Poland at a certain point. But, because of that, I decided, I want to like commit to Poland. I want to commit to my art practice and kind of understand what the voice that I have or want to have here might be. And this turned into 3 shows that I'm very proud of that are still running. I get to be in all of these shows too, which is pretty amazing. I get on a train and I'll go to Poznan and we'll perform there. Then I'll go to Katowice, which is where my other show Zanurzenia is. And now my newest show, Schron Przeciwczasowy, which means time shelter, is at the Stare Theater. Anna Dimna is in the show, which is cool. I didn't actually know who she was at the beginning of working with her, because I don't know who anyone is. But she's great, wonderful person, and I'm really proud of that show. We're performing it soon, June 12th to the 14th. Again, we have performances here in Krakow. At the same time, I did start to develop a kind of film and television presence. I don't want to quite call it a career, because I don't get that much film and television work because I speak English. Oczywiście mówię po polsku, ale kiedy mówię po polsku, kiedy gram po polsku, albo na scenę, w teatrze, albo w seriale, albo w filmie w Polsce, bo brzmi jako obcokrajowcy, zawsze mój postaci są obcokrajowcy, więc to jest mój sposób na razie w Polsce, że gram tylko jako obcy, ale it's still creating some interesting opportunities. So it began with a 12 episode arc as Roy Sanders on Na Wspólnej, who's an American in Poland, who spoke perfect Polish. Didn't make any sense, but that's what it was. I also had a small role in Smarzowski's last film, Wesele, as the Jew from America. Upcoming, I'm going to be in Patrick Vega's new film, Putin, with, a decent role. I had about 9-10 days of shooting on that film. And this summer, I'm going to do a few days shooting on the television series 1670, which is cool. They've asked me to grow my beard. So this might look like it's getting long, but it's just going to get longer. And, I'm also starting to do some more theater that's not just with Marcin. I've got a new show with a colleague of mine, Dorota Abbe, who I met in Poznan. She's in Altenheim, and we have a show called Jeszcze Polska nie zginęła that's going to open at the end of June 28th, June 29th and 30th at Baraka. Here's a link. And, today I got to work with Maciej Sztur because I had this idea that it would be funny if Maciej Sztur was the president in this reality that we've created for my new show, Jeszcze Polska nie zginęła. I think I'll probably talk more about the show because it's a bigger topic later. But here he is with me in my office, which was cool. I also just, I managed to get his phone number and his permission to call him. I called him up, I pitched him the idea, and he said, sure, I'll do it. And I like that about Poland and Polish movie stars. They're not too famous, Everyone in the world is not coming after them. Just Poland. So, I don't know, somehow that makes them more accessible. A lot of them are like on Facebook. You can be Facebook friends with Maciej Sztur. Anyways. So yeah, it's been interesting. It's super interesting. I don't know where it's going to go, where we're headed. Me and Marcin are going to make probably a 4th show next year. We're not sure about what yet. I don't think we had ever planned to have made more than one show together. Now we're on our 4th show together. I might have a show in Warsaw at some point. Yeah, so it's cool. It's interesting. And I'm really grateful that, living in Poland has made me want to return to my art practice because I don't think I would have necessarily wanted to if I stayed in Canada. Living in Poland has really inspired me. It's kind of lit up my mind. And yeah, I've also done this. I started this YouTube channel, and I have a TikTok channel, and Instagram, and I'm posting a lot, and just having voice because I think it's valuable because it's for a purpose. I feel like my voice is for a purpose, and of course I talk a lot about what that purpose is on this channel. But I also think that part of it is just that like my voice doesn't really exist yet in Poland, like this version of a Jewish voice. So I'm going to keep having it if I can. And I'm hoping for more and more opportunities. And I really appreciate all of you for all of your support. If you want to continue supporting me, which some of you have, I have a lovely little group of members on my Patreon so far. If you want to continue supporting me having voice in Poland, please consider becoming a member of my Patreon. You can become a member for as little as 25 zloty a month, which is like $5 American. And of course you can spend more if you can afford to. It's like the price of a nice coffee in Poland. It's patreon.com/Michael Rubenfeld. If you'd like to support me more, it would be really appreciated because it allows me to continue to make this content. And that's all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Love you all. Until next time. Bye bye.